Welcome back to SV Basic. Past couple of weeks we've been doing a few projects here in the cockpit, and we've got a lot of comments wanting more details of how we built this. So that's exactly what we're going to do on this video. We're going to dig in and show you the behind the scenes of how we did it and why we did it. So stand by. To understand how much work we put into the cockpit door and cockpit, let's flash back to the original cockpit door. It was just a plexiglass door, real flimsy, had one metal support on the hinge side, and not the look that we wanted. We ended up reshaping this and putting in a diamond sea glaze door, and I'll show you later how we did that. But let's step out, look at the cockpit now, and flash back to the day we bought it. Decks were gritty, poor condition, holes everywhere. Oh, it was just a mess. But with a lot of hard work, this is what we came up with. So let's get into this and we'll show you how we did it. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this cockpit door. The original door was not the look we were going for, not the strength or the durability we were looking for. I mean, I'm sure it worked fine for decades, but we want a door that was a little more secure and a little more modern. We found this diamond sea glaze door actually on Craigslist for probably about $1/4 the price, but it took some drastic modifications to get this in here. The door is a little taller and it's a lot narrower, probably about 12 inches narrower. So I really had to fill in a lot of this bulkhead right here. Not a big deal. The only big deal was this during the winter. So I had to build a foam room around this so I could work from inside with heat. But I was able to build it in, reskin. I actually ended up reskinning this entire bulkhead all the way down with multiple layers to blend all this through so the seam is seamless. But it turned out great. We're tickled with this door. Just absolutely love it. Action is amazing.
I'm gonna admit it, the cockpit is where I spend most of my time. This is where everybody congregates, everybody gravitates towards this area. And it's because you get the breeze, you get the views, you get to be where the action is. It doesn't really matter the size of the cockpit because you're just gonna hang out here. I only spend time inside when the weather is bad. Not that it's a bad place to hang out, but I love being out in the cockpit so I can just spend time with family. On our last boat, I spent 90% of the time in the cockpit. Whether we were playing cards or having friends over for drinks or dinner, this is where you want to be at. I think that Teal and I came up with a great compromise. Although I'd like to change up the table later on in the future, but as it sits now, it's pretty perfect.
Okay, now let's look at this cockpit table. I had mocked up, just with raw Nitecor, a few different designs. And originally, we wanted to come up with a table that would seat as many people as possible. But the problem to do that was to run this table all the way over to this seating area here. But it was too close. And this is our egress path to get up to that deck there. So I had to shorten this table up 1 foot. By shortening the table up, I had to decrease the base size here. I know it's not proportionate in this area, and I've got a lot of comments on that, but it is by design. We still could get 5 people sitting at this table. We could put another chair here and put 6. I mean, that's a lot for a cockpit table. If we need more seating, we go inside. We could fit 8 more people in there, but we need the room in this cockpit. We live out here. This is where we spend most of our time. So we need the pathways open. I made this out of Nidacore. Nice storage. We use it for all our PFDs in here. Works out pretty well. Is it perfect? No. Would I design it differently again? I probably will down the road. But for now, it's a good table. It doesn't weigh anything. It's got plenty of seating. It is what it is. Let's talk a little bit about just this little corner of the boat. When we bought the boat, there was like this triangle window that was here. And I'm sure it was beautiful in its day, but it wasn't the look that I wanted. So what I ended up doing was excavating that out and taking foam and kerfing it as I come around this corner so I could bend this compound radius. I was able to then fill in the top with Nidacore and just layer glass cloth over this. I have 3 layers of glass cloth over this entire upper deck and 4 or 5 layers over this as it made this sweeping radius. And I really like how it turned out, and it was a look that really modernized the boat. When I did this, I easily put 70 to 80 hours into this radius here. A lot of work, a lot of sanding. And then after I did this, I had to do it again. Okay, let's talk a little bit about this staircase right here. To get up to the winch station, which is going to be located right up there, you would have had to run around up over here, or take 2 big giant steps onto this. It was a seat that ran through here, up to there, and up to there. Actually 3 steps. So what I did is came up with this idea to cut these stairs in here. I built these all out of Nidacore. They are all laced with carbon fiber and over-engineered. And I over-engineered them because there's gonna be a lot of traffic through here. I mean, you're gonna be running up and down this 100 times a day. And so I put extra effort into making sure that I put a little bit more glass cloth down and a lot more support behind the scenes. How's your homework going, Em?
Good, I have a question for you.
Okay, I'll be right back. What is going on down here? Compass. Okay, let's take a look at, turn off the laundry. Let's take a look at how these stairs cut into this room. It did encroach a little bit over the berth here, and I tried to avoid it, but it's not too bad. I think we gain a lot more than what we give up with these. Let's take a look at these real close. I used 1-inch Nidacore on this. And I layered 4 layers of 8-ounce cloth. And in between each layer, I would sand and skim with a fairing compound. That way, the final product is nice and smooth. I wanted it smooth for a reason. So when somebody's laying here in the berth, they hear a noise, they get up, they have a nice, smooth, big radius to knock their head on, rather than a sharp edge. I want to talk a little bit about how I laid out the seating here. I laid them all out in 29-inch multiples. The stairs to that bulkhead are 29 times 3. From this seat to this seat, 29 times 2. This seat to the galley, 29 times 2. This way, all the cushions are the same size, easier to store, and you don't have to figure out which cushion goes to which spot. And that's why I laid it out that way.
When it starts to rain, we have to put the cushions away. My dad built a perfect locker just for them, and this is where they go.
You guys know that I love to cook, and on our last boat I dreamt about having an outdoor cooking area, but we didn't have the space. So we did have a barbecue, and it was great. It was fine, and I loved it. We made wonderful meals on it. But on this boat we have a little bit more elbow room, and instead of extending this for more seating, which we don't need because we have plenty of space, Teal built me this fabulous cook area. And I just love it. I love it.
This little galley pod we put in. Built it all out of Nitecore. And it's all blended and sweeped in to the deck and the hull. And this whole structure weighs nothing. Probably weighs 12, 13 pounds at the most. We did put a cooktop in here. A sink, faucet, disposal. This is nice storage under here. I still have to build a Nitecore door, that's coming up. But I left this area all open. And we have options for this later. I could use this for refrigeration, have a nice drawer refrigerator, ice maker could go in here. It's all pre-built inside to accommodate something. I may just open it up like this and use it for storage. I'm not sure yet. But we do have options. Building this was actually not too bad. I built it not in place. I built it sitting in the middle of the cockpit here, and just formed it with raw Nitecore. Used my thickened epoxy with a colloidal filler to fair the inside edges. Glassed the interior, a few layers, glassed the exterior, put it in place, and then layered glass over this to blend it all in. Now let's take a look at how I calculated the size of this. Well, I know I wanted to fit a sink in here, faucet, cooktop, and have some counter space. So here was my variable right here. I know I needed multiples of 29 coming off of this bulkhead here for seating. So 2 multiples brought me to where I ended up. If I went with 3, it would be too short. So that was where I needed to be on this side. This side, I had to look at this bulkhead and the door swing. So I mounted the door, calculated the swing. So the end of this would accommodate the catch for the door. And that's how I came up with the width of this. I really don't know why Catamaran manufacturers don't put more exterior galleys. This thing has been so handy. Lynn just takes advantage of it any chance she could get. Got our Scanvic sink. Same faucet we put in the galley. This is pretty handy. It is our garbage disposal. Which goes straight through here and right out the bridge deck. So we can recycle all our food scraps. Little Force 10 cooktop. inlaid a little cutting board on there to protect it while we're not using it. But pretty handy. Okay, we had a lot of unevenness in the cockpit here, and the reason was, when this boat was originally made, there was a big sled system here with a 40-horse Mariner outboard, and it would deploy up and down with this big, huge mechanism here. That was removed, and they put in 9.9 Yamaha long shafts in wells in the sugar scoops. Those were removed, and we have the Yanmar diesels in now. But the repair that was done here was not real even, and you could see exactly where the sled used to be. So I ended up excavating all that out, inlaying new Nitacor through there, and then laying an entire sheet of Baltic mat all through this whole area. A lot more even, a lot of work.